Namaskaram, Sukumar Srinivasan. Today, I would like to talk about the the problems which the mankind faces all over the world. Now, the problems are of three in nature. One is a physical violence, the second is a psychological violence, and the third is violence against nature. I think the violence, covers all aspects, all the violences which are exhibited all over the world. There is a physical violence, there is a psychological violence, and there is a violence against nature. Now, because of these violent activities, the man is not able to live in harmony or peace or happiness, which all of us know. You see, the present day world, humanity is subject to such a misery which is unparalleled so far. As against the history of man living for the past, say, 1000 years or 1500 years, today the misery levels are absolute and are beyond anyone's imagination. The misery can be in the form of hunger, in the form of poverty, or in the form of illness. This is exhibited in the external world. The hunger, the poverty, and the illness is exhibited in the outer world. Now, this is physical violence. Now, what is psychological violence? Psychological violence is where people are not aware of themselves as to their origin, as to their sustenance, and as to their end. They are not aware. That is why the masters say that you are asleep. The people are asleep, but even though they are awake, wide awake, and they go about doing things all over the world, discover many things in the external world, and so many things are there. So we tend to presume that we are awake, but in their language we are asleep, because we have not awakened ourselves on the inner front. On the external front, we have done so much of things, we have achieved so much of things, which is also unparalleled technology-wise and science-wise, but the growth in the inner world is absolutely zero. There is no other word to describe other than that. Our growth in the inner world is zero. Now, why I am saying that is because if there is an inner growth, even to the extent of, say, 10% or 20%, then the people will be living happily. There will be no confrontation among themselves. There will be no conflict among themselves. And there will be no international wars at all. Presently, there are about 11 wars going on around the world. It is not a world war. See, World War I and II has happened and it is now dead, gone, dusted, and it is part of history. But now, without a world war, there are wars taking place all over the world, and there are, physical incursions as far as one country is concerned with another country, trying to take over another country's land, trying to change the existing borders, which by themselves are artificial, and so on and so forth. And there is a psychological violence in as much as the violence is exhibited through another domain of the present century, which is nothing but the social media. Social media is another domain. See, the world was taken apart by the discovery of TNT, the dynamite, and the subsequent proliferation of arms and ammunitions, right up to the atom bomb. This is what science has achieved. Science has achieved a point as to how to kill your own race, isn't it? The discovery of arms and ammunitions and highly technical warfare and weapons and all that is nothing but to kill your own race, human race. Now, can we call that as an achievement? Just look around us. There is an animal world and there is a plant world. Now, how do they live? They live in perfect harmony with each other. They do not have any quarrels. They do not have any conflicts. They do not have any war among themselves. Fight, there is no fight. Maybe, a playful fight or something, or, something else. A very little percentage, maybe about 5% or something. But otherwise, there is no war among themselves. There is no law. There is no police station. There is no court. There is no government. But despite that, the 84 lakhs minus 1, there are about 84 lakh creatures in the world, including human beings. You minus 1, so 83 lakhs and 99,999 and all that. Only one creature is human, all the others are animals. Now those are living in peace. All the animals in the animal kingdom are living in peace. They live a life which has been destined to them and they live peacefully. All the plants, they live peacefully. There is no confrontation among themselves. A tall tree doesn't say that you look at a small plant or a small grass and tell them, no, you should not grow besides me, get out. No. They grow. The grass grows, the tree grows, the plant grows, the flowers bloom. Everything happens. 250,000 types of flowers in the world. They bloom by themselves without disturbing others. Have we bloomed? Have we bloomed? There is not even a mention about blooming for human race because we are asleep, because we are ignorant of ourselves. We have focused on the external world to a tremendous extent and achieved what was not thought possible has been achieved now. You are landing in moon. You create space stations and you want to conquer the planets because you want to promote a real estate there. Or you want to excavate what sort of minerals available and you want to be the first to do that. You want to exploit the nature. What else? What else is the purpose? Are we not living comfortably now with all the technology and your equipments, instruments and all that, all these accessories and all that? Are we not comfortable? And what sort of comfort you want to achieve by doing all these things? Going to the moon, creating a space station, make a flight to the other planets, discover what is available there, go to Antarctic, spoil the entire atmosphere there, try to recover the minerals from there. What are you going to achieve? Are we not comfortable now? Are we not comfortable as compared to a man who was living about 500 years back, 1000 years back? The technology has given us all the comforts and luxuries, all unimaginable about a century back. But now, all are there. Then what do you want to achieve? I'm asking a question to all these scientists and technologists. What do you want to achieve? Whatever you have achieved has spoiled the nature like anything. The atom bomb has destroyed the entire, human race. In Japan. And you have it as a stark example of how a human race can be destroyed totally by one small switch. You already have that. Then what do you want to achieve? All the other comforts are available. You do, this has become a global village. You do business with far off countries. You operate your account in a far off bank. You sitting in India, you operate an account in America. Sitting in India, watch a match being played there, or an opera, or anything. You see, the global village has made everything very luxurious, comfortable, and in the process, we have also developed our own miseries. That is the secondary matter. But the point is, we have achieved all the luxuries. There is no point for any scientist to go about and to find out what is what. You have to put a full stop all this, and you start to make an inner journey. You spend your energies in going inside and finding out what is available there. That is what was done by our own rishis and siddhas and jnanis in our own land, in the East, India and China. We did that thousands of years back. We did that. We did that long back, and we have achieved. In the sense, those people, they have achieved what is intended to be achieved by a human being. A human being has been sent to the earth to achieve a certain goal. We call it mukti. They do not know about mukti. They say salvation. That remains only on paper. It doesn't. But our people have found out how to gain the target without spoiling anything. Your external the discoveries and inventions have made you comfortable and luxurious, but in the process you have created enormous amount of waste, which you are not able to dispose of. But a journey in the inward, it doesn't create any waste. On the contrary, you become more and more enlightened and achieve your target. So that is one aspect. The point is that we are talking about violence. One is a physical violence. We know. You see, we are killing our own race. The humans are the only race which is killing its own people in lakhs and lakhs and lakhs. No other creature does that. That distinction we have. Why do we have the distinction? It is because of our ignorance. Ignorance on the part of the leaders who are ruling us for the past centuries. Leaders in the religious field who are giving us a superficial, guidance as to how to live and all that. Leaders in the society, we have been kept ignorant. That's the point. So the physical violence is taking place, one. The second is psychological violence. The psychological violence happens because of the same reason, because we are ignorant about our own selves. The psychological violence takes place in your family, in the society, in the country, in the world. Everything takes place because the man doesn't know that he is nothing in the universe. He is nothing in the universe. He is not there. The knowledge that he is not there is not known to him. And because of that, this sort of psychological violence has been taking place because he has assumed that he is there because of his the mind. Since the mind rules the world, he is ignorant of himself. He doesn't know about himself, so he does. He does things which create violence. That is a psychological violence. You are not in tune with other people. You are not in harmony with other people. You don't live a compassionate life with other people. You do not have any love at all for other people. Then what happens? You are in constant conflict with yourself. You are in constant conflict with other people, the society, everything. This is psychological violence. The third is the violence against nature, which we are coming to now as part of our external activities in our club. We are coming to that. We have created enormous amount of waste in this nature, which we are unable to dispose of. There is a kitchen waste, there is a plastic waste, there is an electronic e-waste, there is a nuclear waste, glass waste, everything waste. The waste is being produced in millions of tons. The culprit after the atom bomb was discovered, in the arms and ammunition industry. The second culprit, which has spoiled the entire atmosphere, entire environment, is the plastic. The discovery of plastic is the second destructive factor which the man has found out. Because now, you see, we are not able to dispose of the plastics in a degradable way. It is impossible because a plastic doesn't get degraded within 100 years. And you know what is the amount of plastic which is being produced in a year in the world, all over the world? It is 40 crores of tons of plastic is being manufactured every year. 40 crore tons this year, 40 crore tons next year, every year. Now what happens to this plastic? Assume that it is being consumed. People are keeping plastics in their houses for all purposes. Okay, let it be. So say 80% of the plastic remains in the house, in the first. But once the plastic becomes unusable because of wear and tear, it goes to, where does it go? It goes to the garbage. From there it goes to where? It goes to the garbage mountains, or it goes inside the oceans. So the plastic ultimately reaches the oceans or the garbage mounds, which the people are not able to dispose of, and it creates an enormous impact on the pollution, on the environment. And the plastic which ends in the ocean has now created microplastics, and these microplastics are being consumed by the marine life. So the fish you eat ultimately has got microplastics inside, and the humans have started consuming microplastics to the extent that we are eating one plastic card of the credit card size every month. Some people say it is not one card, you are eating 3 cards in a month. let it be any number, but we are eating credit cards, plastic cards every month. It goes in through the food you are eating, it goes in. To that extent, it has contaminated the entire marine life because the plastic is being dumped in the ocean. So your fish has got a microplastic. Microplastics is nothing but a plastic small piece which is about 5 millimeters. So microplastics is being consumed by us. Microplastic is being inhaled by us because of the polluted atmosphere. And of course, in other ways, through the medicine also it gets into the body because it is being packaged. The packaging industry plays another major role in in distributing the plastics, microplastics. So we are living in a society where we have totally acted violently against nature by usage of the plastics. There is something else called electronic waste, there is something else called nuclear waste. They are apart. Now that is not in our hands. At least electronic waste is in our hands. You see, either plastic waste or electronic waste. This can be, got disposed of in a very degradable way by a organized and a committed and a focused effort by the people. I do not foresee any effort by the leaders or by the society leaders or the government, nothing. They will not be able to do it. You see, there was a conference on environment some time back at a place called Sharm el Sheikh, maybe in Middle East or something. So all the global leaders were assembled there. They wanted to discuss about how to reduce the global warming, which is threatening us now, and which in another few years it will raise the temperature all around. Thereby the heat, the seawater, and the seawater level will likely to rise by about 1.5 feet, which will cause inundation in the coastal city. Global warming. So they wanted to reduce because there are lots of carbon emission from all over the industries, the society, and so many things. So for the conference, leaders came from all around the world. There were 135 private jets by which the people flew into that particular town to attend the conference. 135 private jets. That means 135 persons to come to the conference, they used a private jet. You know what is the amount of carbon emissions these private jets will release in the atmosphere? But they are going inside the auditorium to talk about climate, how to improve your climate. Now this is what is happening in the world. So can you believe these leaders? You cannot. So what is the other alternative? The other alternative is for the people to come out and create a method by which all this plastic waste and the electronic waste can be got recycled in an organized way. It is for the people only who can take up this, because none of the leaders are interested in doing this, because they do not bother. That's all, simple. Because they got other things to do, like spoiling the natural resources and earning money, making as much money as possible. Forget it. We are not into that. We have to protect ourselves. Why should we protect ourselves? Because this is going to cause a health hazard in the society. You see, the percentage of non-contagious diseases in the total diseases which the medical system is facing was around 15%. The non-contagious diseases of the total diseases treated by the medical world all over the world was 15%. Non-contagious diseases means a disease which cannot spread from one to another. That's all. That is non-contagious. It's like, heart attack, cancer, blood pressure, all these sort of diseases. They are non-contagious. Now this has increased from 15% about 20-30 years back. Now it has come to 50%. 50% of non-contagious diseases are being treated all over the world. And why this has increased? It is because of the pollution. It is because of the pollution which we face. Because the pollution, we eat chemicals, we drink chemicals, we breathe chemicals. The contaminated food particles from the excessive use of fertilizers and pesticides. The contaminated water, because the water is untreated, it is polluted. The contaminated atmosphere because of industrial, emissions, carbon emissions, and global traffic, which has got a major contributor for the atmospheric pollution. You see, wheat grown in Ukraine goes to Europe. They buy. It travels about 5,000 kilometers. The travel, food particles travel across the world. An apple in US comes to India about 3,500 kilometers. Ukraine wheat goes to Europe and America and all that, 5,000 kilometers. Why our own almond milk travels about 650 kilometers before it reaches our home. So the amount of distance taken by these food items, they get carbon deposits during the period of transit. So what we receive as a food item at our home is contaminated with carbon. I told you about water and I told you about the air. So we are totally contaminated because the way we live. And already I have escaped. I am 74. My period is almost over. But what about my children and grandchildren? What sort of earth we are leaving it to them, for them to live without a disease? What sort of earth we are leaving? You are leaving a earth which is polluted, the water is polluted, the air is polluted, and these young people are exposed to these pollutants, and thereby they get diseases which are unknown at such a young age. There are people of young age who get heart attack, who get cancer, who get other unknown diseases. Young age, they die. See, the latest research shows the microplastics has reached in such a way as it has become part of the human body. Traces of microplastics has been found in the man's sperm. Can you believe it? Man's sperm. And that is why they say, the researchers say that the fertility rate has come down all over the world because there is microplastics in your sperm. And these microplastics can cause enormous amount of heart attacks because they block the valves. Such a terrible situation we are facing in the country, in the world, but we are not bothered. None of us are bothered. Is it not a situation where our master said, "You are all sleeping"? Are we not sleeping? We enjoy with whatever products available with us in the external world, and we think it is happiness. But when you come to know this truth, will you be happy? Will you be happy to see that your children, young children and grandchildren will die of cancer or heart attack at a young age like 30 or 35? You want them to do that? We should become aware. We should become awake. So, my point is, let us start in a small way. One step. You see, even Himalayas can be conquered by taking a first step. Only one step. You just bother about one step. You can conquer the Himalayas because your entire concentration is on the first step, not on the last step. So that way, we as knowledgeable people who are conscious, who are aware, we should take the first step. So to that is, we should concentrate as a club with reach all over the city, all over the country, to target this eradication of plastic waste and e-waste in a manner which is possible for us at a small scale. That if we do, and if it is a collective effort, I think we should be able to achieve even a small portion of our target. That is what is required. I hope I have given you enough material, and I also created a large amount of fear in your mind as regards pollution, and I hope if the fear is able to wake you up from the sleep, I'll be happy. Thank you very much.